During the offseason, one thing that caught me off guard was how the media reacted to DeRozan being acquired by the Bulls or Lonzo and Caruso going to the Bulls. There are many in the media that doubted whether or not this team could even make it to a top 4 seed, let alone some people even doubted that they could even make the playoffs. To me, that's just insane. Obviously, having DeRozan on your team, having Lonzo, Caruso, that's already a playoff team in my books. And they've built up a roster that I quite honestly think can go very far in the playoffs. Never mind the fact that DeRozan was a perennial all-star when he was in Toronto, and he was averaging numbers that were rivaling or even passing some of his feats that he's done in Toronto. In terms of assists, he really did average a career high over there in San Antonio. Never mind the fact that Caruso was part of a championship team in 2020 during the bubble. Never mind the fact that Lonzo has shown steady improvements on all facets of his game, especially the three-point shooting. No, I want to talk about two certain players that have been making their mark on his team, and not enough people have been talking about it. Look, it's no secret that the Bulls have depth this year, and I think that's going to be one of their contributing factors in them making a push to perhaps even make it to the finals. And like Lonzo and Alex Caruso, they were acquired during the offseason. Well, one of them wasn't really acquired, say, he was picked in the draft. Now I'm going to go into both Derrick Jones Jr. and Ayo Dosunmu. And today we'll be looking at how impactful they are. I'm not going to take too much time out of your hands because there's not much to say at the moment because they've only been averaging 16, 17 minutes a game. But there's enough there to really say that they're good, they're impactful, and they play with a lot of energy. And I think that's what I really want to talk about. Teams like the Bulls that want to contend, they need players that'll come off the bench and play with that energy, play with that heart, play with that grit. As a Raptors fan, I remember watching players like Siakam come up and Jakob Poeltl pick up, and they were playing such good basketball. And it wasn't really because they were skilled, it was so much because they had motor. They were just going up and down the floor, man. They were just running, and they were just making things happen for themselves and for others. That's what I see out of players like Jones Jr. and Dosunmu. I think they're going to be very pivotal for this team in the long run. And as a rookie already, Ayo Dosunmu has made great strides. He looks like he's a much smarter player. He looks like he knows and he can read defenses. He looks like a player that in a couple of more games, in a couple more months, he might even look like a veteran in a couple of months. That's how scary good this guy is already. He shows a lot of potential, and some people are comparing him to guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Ja Morant. Obviously, that's a stretch. To me, I don't like comparing players that are this raw, but there's something about the prospects of Dosunmu that, being picked up 38th in the second round, that's really cool to have. I would love to have a guy like Dosunmu on my team. And he had that crazy chase down block. Oh my goodness, against the Nets, that was just an amazing block, man. That got me so excited. I was like, wow. I was like, is that Derrick Jones Jr.? No, that was Dosunmu. He had 2 blocks in the game. Derrick Jones Jr. had 4. That guy is just swatting balls, man. He's just swatting them out of there, man. I'm telling you, this team, man, we have to give them more love, man. Obviously, my guy DeRozan's in this team. I love DeRozan so much, man. He's always welcome to come back in Toronto. Hey, you never know. Look, things might be salty there, though. Obviously, he's not gonna try to come back to a team that really stabbed him in the back. I love DeRozan, man. Fourth quarter king, you already know this guy. This is how he played in Toronto, man. People are going to look to his playoff performances and say, oh, DeRozan, he was just awful in stretches against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He owned Toronto. DeRozan was a phenomenal player. This is how he played for us throughout the regular season. Hopefully he changes his tune during the playoffs. Hopefully things get better. Obviously, this is the most talented team DeRozan's been in terms of the talent he has around. Lonzo Ball, Levine, Vucevic, and then you have players off the bench. You have Caruso coming. I think DeRozan right now is in a great situation, and so I'm happy for him. And now to get back to Dosunmu and Jones Jr. I know this video is supposed to be about those two, but I had to just throw in DeRozan there because I love this guy, man, and he's doing great. But the bench, man, those two are going to be pivotal for the next couple of games because Caruso's hurt. He's got a hamstring injury. You have now Javonte Green and Kobe White being out due to health and safety protocols. Yeah, those two are going to have to step up. They're going to play over 20 minutes a game now. They're going to play much bigger, impactful minutes. I mean, they played Dosunmu to close out the game. Okay, the coach really does see something in Ayo to where he can put him in the game late in crunch time against a Brooklyn Nets team. That's a contending team right there, and you're putting that rookie. I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know. And never mind the fact that this dude is a very adept playmaker already. I mean, obviously, you don't require him to, dribble the ball a lot. It doesn't seem to overwhelm him as much as he would expect it to, especially as a rookie. I mean, this is the first time in his career that he's not the star in his team. And now he's having to settle now to play this role, and honestly, he's doing a fantastic job at it. And Derrick Jones Jr., oh my goodness, some people are saying that he should be starting, over Javonte Green when he starts. I definitely see the argument in that. I would not be mad if he did start. But what I'm telling you guys is, Javonte Green being healthy again, all those guys coming back into the lineup. I wouldn't want to lose that bench aspect, right? Look, Derrick Jones Jr. can play 20 minutes a game. But if he's off the bench, I think there's a spark there that he could add to that bench unit. And I think if he starts, you might have something missing off the bench where Derrick Jones would fill that role off the bench really well. I think it's not a bad situation either way. You would want him to at least play over 20 minutes a game at least. I mean, 17 minutes is just not going to cut it. This guy needs more minutes, that's for sure. That's something we can all agree on. But I'm telling you guys, man, this Bulls team is for real. They are legit as it can get. I'm just dumbfounded that it took this long for many in the media to see it. I mean, some people, I just can't believe some people, they said they wouldn't even make the playoffs. I mean, who are these people, man? If only we could get a petition going so that every member of the media who said such outlandish things about this team, if only we can get them to apologize publicly on national television, pre-game or post-game, I don't care. I just want to see it, every single one of them, face to face with a camera, looking into our eyes, saying, I'm sorry, the Bulls are a great team. I didn't expect it, guys. Look, I don't know what came over me. They could just come up with the most ridiculous excuse. Oh, guys, when I said that DeRozan was the worst signing that was done in the offseason, I didn't really say that. I was hacked. Look, my name, I didn't know it was there. At the time, I thought it was somebody else that wrote that article. I just, laughed it off. But now it's like, bro, like, that is attached to me now. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. That's what I want to see. Please, let's make it happen now. One of the biggest things that this team does that really separates them from a lot of teams in the league is how they finish games. Okay, this team can come into a game losing by 4 in the fourth quarter and win the game. Okay, you can sit down there as a Bulls fan, watch these games, and feel so confident that your team is going to eventually win the game eventually. That's how I felt back in 2019 when the Raptors were going on that run. I was so happy as a fan. At that point, I knew how it felt to be a winning team. Right now, though, it's pretty nerve-wracking, I can't lie to you. But their fourth quarters are really where you see the chef's kiss. DeMar DeRozan, he's just a chef at this point. He's cooking it from all cylinders. I mean, this guy's mid-range game it looks like it's even improved since the last time I've seen him play this well. I mean, back in Toronto, he looked very good. But in this Bulls team, he looks much more confident when he takes those mid-range. And people have pointed out, he does not pump fake as much as he did back in Toronto. That's a very good point to make. And it just shows that he's that much more confident in his shot. And he knows that at any point in the game, he could just let that shit go and put it in. Now, another team that I wish had fourth quarters like the Bulls did, the Timberwolves, man. I really am rooting for this team. I do want to see them do well. They certainly have the talent to make the playoffs, but they just have to put it together this season. And I did do a video covering how bad their fourth quarters have been lately, and I hope that's something that you'll like as well. So check it out if you want to.